Hello, today we're going to be going over the different ways you can destroy turrets and how much damage you need to deal to actually destroy them. The most common turret we're going to run into in the beginning right now is going to be the heavy turret. And you might see some light turrets around. Most people will be upgrading from the light turrets to the heavies pretty quickly. And then we're going to start seeing the tech turrets popping up in the next week or so. Right, tech turrets have 9,000 health. Heavy turrets have 20,000 health. And light turrets have 3,000 health. Well, let's start with rockets. This is going to be one of the most common raiding methods, right? So we'll hit a light turret with a rocket. And it's gone. Alright, we blew that one up here, and it blew up the light one, so one rocket can take out, without 6 times damage, one rocket can take out every light turret in range. And it looks like rockets can hit up to 3 foundations away. So if we fired... we fired here, and then we hit 3 foundations away. If we hit 3 foundations that way, and the same thing, 3 foundations every direction in a plus sign. If I were to fire at this one, again, we'll do one more rocket test here. If I were to hit this one with a rocket, it destroyed one, right? It will destroy one on either side of it, right? But it only partially damaged this one. It dropped it down to 780 health, so it would take 2 rockets to hit that one. So if lights are clustered really close together, you can take them out with rockets. What about C4? Well, let's give it a test. We'll put it on this one here and see how far down it reaches. Just throw on one C4. And the C4 completely got rid of all 3 light turrets. Let's see how far the C4 damage actually went. Alright, so while the C4 blew up all 3 turrets when I placed it on the very end, so it would have blown up 2 foundations that direction, it really only did a total of 3 foundations. The damage to the foundations was actually lessened. Actually, this foundation had a turret set on it and it didn't take any damage. The turret did, the foundation didn't. So that's interesting and something to keep in mind. This seems the foundation will only do damage to 1 foundation space away from where it was placed, 2 foundations and maybe other structures, but to turrets, the explosion radius does more damage. Okay, so now we know 1 C4, boom, light turret's gone. Alright, how much damage does a tech rifle do to turrets? And we'll do the same test. We'll start on the end. We'll shoot this turret. 1 shot. Boom. 1 shot. No damage. But the structure's taking damage from the splash. So, turrets don't take damage from tech rifles. You have to destroy the structure setting on. So, if they're setting on the ground, you won't be able to destroy them with tech rifles. And we'll get into the tech saddles in just a moment. Let's continue our test with the heavies. Alright, with the rocket, start on the far left. We'll shoot it and we'll see what happens. Got the heavies. Boom. Heavies still standing. Right? How much damage did we do? Well, quite a bit of damage. Was it like 6? No. So we did around 15,700 and something, 80 something damage maybe. Anyway, that one. And then to the one next to it. So 1 foundation space over. We dealt slightly less than 10,000 damage to it. And then the 3rd space over took even less damage than that. But if we were to fire at this one, for instance, which we'll show you there in a minute, so as we saw, we did 3. So we did 2 over from its main hit, so 3 total foundations. No damage, and a little bit of damage to this foundation. If we had a turret here, it probably would have taken some splash damage as well. Alright, so 3. So from point of origin, 3 foundations every direction. Alright, now let's try shooting in the center. We're going to be careful. Let's see, 3 foundations over, 4. 1, 2, 3. This one might take some damage. And mess with our test a little bit. Let's just shoot the one in the middle. Alright, so we'll shoot the one in the middle now. Alright, and those 2 are gone. Right, and this one took quite a significant amount of damage this time. So as you see, if you hit the one in the middle, the ones on the sides will take enough damage that they'll need 1 more shot. So it's 2 shots no matter what. 2 direct hits. If you can hit some splash damage nearby, really close, if the turrets are really close together, you can still get them in all of them 2 shots. So make sure you're not putting your turrets too close together for rocket runners. How about C4? Let's test this out again. 1 C4. Where did that C4 go? Oh, hope it land on the turret. Okay, so here we go. Put a C4 on the turret. Boom, 1 C4. That turret is gone. How far over did it affect? From here, again, it only affected the foundations one space, either direction, but the turrets took, this one is almost broken, right? And then one over took slightly, very little damage, but it still took some damage. Alright, so 1c4 to destroy heavies. Again, don't cluster heavies, sir. So how about the tech rifle? What will it do to the heavies? Will it be just like the lights and do no damage? Find out. No damage, once again. If we shoot the foundation, foundation takes damage, the flash still does not damage the turret. So, tech rifle does nothing to the turret. Alright, but what about tech turrets? I mean, their health is low. How easy are they to destroy? Well, let's start on this end. Here we go again. How much damage will all the turrets around this take? Let's find out. Alright, so one shot and all turrets are still standing. It took, wow, from a rocket it took almost no damage. Do you see this? That can't be right. It only took less than 500 damage? This one took just slightly less than that. And this one took, yeah, just about, and just slightly less. So it is slightly less as it went out. Did I not hit that directly? Let's try hitting the one in the middle. So again, the rocket hits a very large area. So from the point of origin out 3 spaces and a plus sign. So it'd probably be, if you went diagonally, it'd probably only hit like 2 maybe. Alright, here we go. I need a direct, let's shoot it here and get some splash. That do for us. No, tech turrets are extremely resistant against rocket. You know, tech structures are resistant against explosives, but this is an insane resistance. You're not going to be able to, in a non-6x scenario, you're probably not going to be able to rocket run techs. Even in a 6x scenario, I mean, we only did 6 times that damage. Oh, that was like 5, less than 5. So we'll say 450 damage just to be safe. 6 times that is really not that much. It wouldn't be enough to kill the turret in one shot. Alright, so if these were in a 6 times cave, we'd probably need somewhere between 3 and 6 rockets to break the turret, depending on the direct impact that we had. So tech turrets are definitely going to be the way to go for stopping rocket runs. They're already good for stopping rocket runs as it is because of the knockback and all that, but yeah. Let's test the C4 now. Same test. 1 C4, of course, it's probably not going to do that much damage because, you know, explosives. Let's see if we splash all the way to the 3rd one. Here we go. Detonate. Boom. What did we do? We did slightly more than the rockets, so instead of 5, you might be able to break these in 4 C4 in a 6 times cave. And then that, so 1 over does about the same as a rocket. Direct hit from a rocket. And then almost no damage. 2 over. So you're not going to be destroying a lot of turrets with C4, even in 6 times caves if there's tech. But what about the tech rifle? Alright, let's get that going. 1 shot. No damage. The tech rifle doesn't damage any turrets. Let's start out. Splash damage. Yeah. The tech rifle does no damage to turrets. Next up, we're going to try out tech saddles. Alright, we'll start with the tech tape, and after the tech saddle test, we'll go and do some, we'll show you a couple of more ways of damaging turrets that are not as well known. Alright, 1 shot. It did take damage. It took slightly less than it does from a rocket with 1 shot, but did it do splash damage? It did. It deals splash damage 1 foundation over. So as we can see, the tech tappy can damage tech turrets. Of course, there's probably very little scenarios where we can get a tech tappy close enough to actually break turrets. But as fast as you can fire this, it'd be a nice way to destroy turrets inside a 6 times cave. So we can assume if the tech tappy can damage tech turrets, that it would be able to damage heavy turrets, right? So let's find out. You know, we could assume that, but we could be completely wrong, right? Maybe tech is just designed to destroy tech. So let's just, but you know, it's unlikely. So let's shoot it. Now, I don't know if there's a thing with the tech saddles where they do damage from splash, so it just may be splash damage, not direct hit damage it's doing. And look at that. But it did not do any damage to the heavy turret, even though it's doing damage to the tech turret. Let's try and do splash and see if the splash damage does. Get around it. It'll do some direct shots. Go crazy here. Alright, what did we do? Nothing to the turret. Again to the structure. So in 6 times cave, structures are going to be your target, right? With you using tech. So is it going to be the same case for light turrets? Well, let's find out. Sure it's not hurt. Okay, it's not hurt yet. Do some shots. See. Now if heavies didn't take damage from tech, lights probably don't either. Nope. So tech is just designed to counter tech, and the the normal turrets aren't going to take damage. Kind of weird, but I can see where they may be thinking it's a type of balance. Especially with as resistant as tech turrets are to explosives, right? But is the Tech Rex going to have the same result as the Tech Tappy? Because the Tech Tappy saddle had some nerfs on it, specifically because of what you could do with it. So let's try. We'll do one shot. Alright. There we go, slightly more damage than the rockets, and about the same as the Tech Tappy. And this one, we got a little tiny bit of splash damage, no splash damage. So actually less splash damage from the Rex than from the Tappy. Alright, moving up to the next set of turrets. Go ahead and shoot the heavies and the lights to speed this up a little bit. See if we get any damage going. Doesn't look like it, but we'll double check. Yeah, same as Tech Tappy. We're not going to be able to do damage to turrets directly with the tech saddles. Except for, you know, tech turrets. Alright, so this method is not great for on land, but if you're in water, this would be a great way to potentially raid a water base. Especially if you're really good at shot with this. Alright, it's the harpoon gun. So as we can see, it says 20,000 hit points. Shoot with a harpoon gun, and yeah. So it doesn't do a lot of damage, but imagine a 6 times underwater cave. You could actually, and you had enough harpoons and time, you could just take out turrets. So you could, this is definitely a great way for offlining. Might not be a great online thing to do here. There we go, yeah. So 4 shots, and we've dropped it about 100 hit points. So that'd be 600 hit points in a 6x cave. So as you can see, if you were in a 6 times cave, underwater cave, this could be a real threat to your turrets. It's not super accurate. The farther away you get from the turrets, the more the drop has. Yeah, we just hit the bottom of the foundation there. We'd have to aim like way above the turret, and we still hit the foundation. So this is not great on land. And then tech turrets, it doesn't do any damage to tech turrets. And just to show you with a light turret real quick. And it does about the same damage to light turrets as it does the heavies, but lights have less health. So you'd be able to break the lights a lot faster with it. Alright, for the runner-up. Cannons are a bit pain to aim, so let's see what we can... Oh, too high, too much to the right. Okay. 1 down. Too much to the left. Aim to the right. Aim to the right. Okay, try again. And fire. That it looked like, but I got the foundation, I think. 2668. Alright, let's try again. Maybe too close to beat for this kind of aiming. Maybe just set the cannon further back. Let's run her up. It does damage turrets and it damages structures, so at the very least you can destroy structures, you know, the turrets are setting on, if they're setting on a turret structure. Okay. Go back and look. 2666. Alright, so it's doing splash damage just a little bit because it's hitting below. Let's aim up a little higher. So cannons can do damage to tech turrets. Boom, and we hit that heavy dead on. That was a good one, and yeah, did a little bit of damage. So cannons are not great for directly hitting turrets and destroying them. They're better for structures, but again, like I said, some runner-ups, some options, and 6 times caves, cannons can be very devastating to a turret wall. But there we go, now we know. So can't do it with boulders, but what about the ballista? I mean, if the underwater harpoon gun can, well, why can't this? This will be the first turret we tried on. 4, 4, 4, 4. Easy enough. All 4s. See if that changes. Alright. Boom. Oh, direct hit. Oh yeah, we got a hit marker. Alright, fired a few arrows. And we did... the other arrow sticking out of it. Alright. 3604. So yeah. This is a this could be a better option on land than a harpoon gun if you wanted to set up a siege weapon, because you can, as you can see, it fires a little bit further before it drops. Still has a pretty big drop, but you can set out a turret range and have someone spotting it for you and change it. Yeah, and get some good shots on some heavy turrets. But what about tech turrets? I missed. Direct hit. I'm not getting hit markers, so I don't think this is going to do damage to tech. We'll go check. Oh yeah, no damage to tech. So, you see those are all great hits, but no damage. And that's how you damage turrets. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.